Hello from Seoul? You really think ramen is the thing only restaurants can make? Really? But what if I say you can make the proper bowl of ramen in 15 minutes? Don't worry about it. I'm not talking about that kind of instant ramen today. I'm talking about real Japanese miso ramen. Alright, are you guys ready? Let's get started. First of all, let's start with chashu, soy sauce braised pork belly. Now some of you might say, what? Chashu within 15 minutes? Are you sure about that? Don't worry about it. If you follow my lead, you can make it happen. For this, you will need pork belly. That's it. But if you could add some garlic and ginger, that's gonna be more awesome. And here, make sure to get this kind of thinly sliced pork so it can cook faster. If you didn't take my advice and it took more than 30 minutes only for chashu, I'm not responsible. For the sauce, put 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, half a tablespoon of oyster sauce, 1 tablespoon of mirin, half a tablespoon of sugar, half a tablespoon of corn syrup, a quarter teaspoon of dark soy sauce, 1 teaspoon of minced garlic, half a teaspoon of grated ginger, 2 tablespoons of water, and give it a good mix. Pretty simple, right? But if you want to get that restaurant taste, then bring this bad boy over here and add a generous pinch of MSG. Now get your pan on a medium heat and add half a tablespoon of cooking oil. Once it gets nice and hot, add 180 grams of thinly sliced pork belly. This way, we can dramatically reduce the cooking time compared to the traditional recipe. Remember, our greatest enemy in this episode is a time-consuming process and a lot of dishes to wash. Once it's cooked through, pour the sauce we made and just cook it for 3 minutes. That's it. And if you want that smoky flavor, then take out your blowtorch or sizzler. Well, it's not necessary, but it will make you look super cool. This time, let's make soft boiled eggs, one of the most important toppings for Japanese ramen. Fill a pot with 6 cups of water and bring it to a gentle boil. Now place your 5 eggs and boil without a lid for 7 minutes. When time's up, take them out and immediately drop them into ice water. That's it. It's way easier than you think, right? For information, if you really want to get things done within 15 minutes, you gotta cook the eggs and chashu simultaneously. Otherwise, it's gonna take forever, maybe next year. Now some of you might want to say, Aaron, I want to get the beautiful brown color ramen eggs like the one from restaurants. Sorry about that, my friend. It's impossible to do that within 15 minutes. But don't worry about it. Have I ever let you down? With a little bit of a trick, we can make it happen. In a small mixing bowl, put 1 teaspoon of dark soy sauce and a generous pinch of sugar. And then add in your eggs and just mix them around. That's it. Of course, it's gonna taste different from the authentic one, but trust me, nobody would know just by looking at it. Alright, our main toppings are done. Let's make our ramen broth. For this, you will need miso, green onion, and ground pork. That's it. It's way simpler than you think, right? But the taste? Don't worry about it. It's gonna be fantastic. First, let's chop some green onion. I'm gonna use the white part for broth and the green part for garnish. So make sure to include both parts and set them aside. Next, in a large mixing bowl, combine 4 cups of water, 1 tablespoon of chicken bouillon powder, and 1 teaspoon of hondashi. These 2 bad boys will make it possible to make ramen within 15 minutes. Yeah, that will make your life a lot easier. Now, into a wok, add 1.5 tablespoons of lard and heat it over medium heat. And then add 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, half a teaspoon of grated ginger, 30 grams of chopped green onions, and give it a few stirs. Once you can smell the amazing aroma, add 150 grams of ground pork, a quarter teaspoon of white pepper, and stir fry for 3 minutes. And here, make sure to break it up so that they don't clump together. When the pork is cooked through, reduce it down to a low heat and add 1 tablespoon of mirin, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 4 tablespoons of miso, and 1 teaspoon of Chinese chili bean paste. Now, you're just gonna mix this in together for about 2 minutes. Here, you're not stir frying it with big fire. Just gently mix it. Please don't be a chef in Thai or Chinese restaurants. Once everything is well incorporated, add in the stock and put it on a gentle heat. The broth doesn't have to boil or simmer, just get it warm. That's the key. Now bring a spoon and give it a quick taste. And add a pinch of salt if it's necessary, but mine is perfect. Once that's done, cover it the lid and keep it warm until ready to use. Next, let's stir fry some mung bean sprouts for the toppings. Put 1 tablespoon of lard in a pan and heat it over high heat. Once it gets nice and hot, add in some mung bean sprouts and quickly stir fry them for less than a minute. Here, of course you could just blanch it in hot water, but if you stir fry this with some lard like this, it's gonna be amazingly flavorful. Alright, last but not least, let's cook the noodles. Depending on the brands, the cooking time can be slightly different, so make sure to cook the noodles according to the package instructions. Once that's done, get yourself a bowl and add in your cooked noodles. And try to spread the noodles as wide as you can, so you can place your toppings for a beautiful presentation. Otherwise, you might have to watch helplessly as your toppings sink down to the bottom, and then gently add your broth. After that, top it up with some chashu, soft boiled eggs, mung bean sprouts, corns, green onions, and dried seaweed. That's it! Can you believe it took only 15 minutes to make? I don't think so. Alright, let's see how it tastes. Claire?
아주 논란거리가 되겠군. 자기처럼 손 빠른 사람이야 되겠지만 나처럼 손이 느린 사람은 1시간 걸린다고. 어쨌든 비주얼은 훌륭하군. I like the presentation. 토핑 진짜 많은 거 봐봐. 우와. Ready. 맛있네. 되게 감칠맛 있고, 부드럽고 너무 맛있는데? 미소에서 나오는 그 은은한 향이 있네. 맛있어. 본격적으로 시작해볼까? Ready? 와, 제대로네. 와, 너무 맛있어. 와, 그냥 면 자체는 되게 부드러운데 숙주가 되게 아삭아삭하잖아. 그래서 같이 먹는 순간 그 부드러움과 아삭함이 동시에 막 폭발한다, 입에서. 너무 맛있는데? I love how glistening it is. 근데 이거 안 잘라줘도 되는 거야? 내가 이렇게 베어 먹는 거야? 원래 이래? 양념 기가 막히네. 분량이 샥 나고 그다음 간장이 샥 스쳐 지나가는데 너무 맛있는데? 이건 그냥 토핑이라고 하기엔 너무 아까운 그런 애인데? 엄청 공이 많이 들어간 애 같아. 너무 맛있어. 심지어 이 강고기랑 옥수수가 입에서 막 터지는 것도 그것도 진짜 예술이야. 와, 이걸 또 놓칠 수 없지. I can't miss the egg, always. 그럴듯하게 잘 삶았군. You can't go wrong with this, right? 와, 너무 맛있어. 너무 부드럽다. 그냥 입에서 샥 녹는다. 예술이야. I like it a lot. But I have one complaint about this. 내가 지난번에도 말했단 말이야. 이게 뭐냐고, 이게. 나무 젓가락이랑 라멘집 스푼이 있어야 될 거 아니야. 최대한 오센틱하게 하란 말이야. 쇼핑 리스트에다 적어. 솔직히 저번에 탄탄면 너무 맛있어가지고 그거 못 이길 줄 알았는데 거의 막상막하다. 너무 맛있는데? 이제 이것도 자주 해줘.
Are you looking at the takeout menus for ordering some chicken teriyaki? Please, throw that away. What? You're looking at the app? Then, sorry about that. Just never mind. Anyway, chicken teriyaki is not a thing only restaurants can make. It's way easier than you think, so you can do it. And if you do, I'm pretty sure you will taste the best chicken teriyaki that you ever had. Alright, are you guys ready? Let's get started. As I said earlier, chicken teriyaki is super easy to make, so even if you're not a good cook, you can even make it within 5 minutes. However, to do that, you need to make delicious teriyaki sauce in advance. So let's make the sauce first. What? Sounds difficult? Don't worry about it. As always, with me, nothing's gonna be a problem, so buckle up. For this, you will need onion, green onion, garlic, and ginger. What? Too many ingredients? Don't worry about it. You can skip all of these aromatics because they're they're not the main star of the show. They're more like assisters to make it as close to the restaurant quality. So if you don't have them, just skip them. Don't worry about it, still gonna be good. First, let's start with some green onion. Roughly chop it, but only the white part. Next, onion. I'm just gonna use a quarter of an onion. Once you're done that, place them on a baking sheet with 3 to 4 cloves of garlic and a chunk of ginger. Now let's pop these under the broiler for about 10 minutes or until nice and charred. If you don't have a broiler, then just grill them in a dry pan. That's totally fine. Meanwhile, in a saucepan, let's add 1 cup of soy sauce, 1 cup of mirin, half a cup of sake, and half a cup of sugar. Keep adding all your veggies and bring it to a boil over medium heat. Once it comes to a boil, reduce it down to low heat and let it simmer for about 10 more minutes. If you just keep it on the high heat, it may get too salty and bitter, so you may not get that pleasant sweetness from your teriyaki sauce. So please let it simmer on a gentle heat. Also, during the simmer, you shouldn't really walk away because it can easily overflow. If that happens, this 5-minute teriyaki chicken will take more than an hour to clean your stove. You don't want that to happen, right? Once the sauce is reduced by 2/3, remove it from the heat, and when it's completely cooled, just put it in a jar or bottle, and there you have it, your homemade teriyaki sauce. As you can see, it's not that difficult, right? But it will be much better than the store-bought teriyaki sauce. Now with this amazing sauce, let's make chicken teriyaki. For this, you will need chicken, green onion, and some cabbage. First, let's chop some green onion, but only the white part. When this nice and thick green onion meets the fat from the chicken, trust me, it will taste phenomenal. So please don't skip the green onion. Next, slice some cabbage. As I said in the previous video, if you're not confident with your knife skills, you can use a vegetable peeler. That's totally fine. And once you're done that, please soak them in cold water. Otherwise, by the time you serve this, you will be met with some unappetizing thing as a garnish. So don't skip this step. Lastly, let's prep our main ingredient, chicken. Trim off any excess fat that you may want to remove, but leave the skin on. Today, I'm using boneless chicken thigh because this is normally used for chicken teriyaki, but if you prefer chicken breast, please go ahead and use that. No problem at all. Once you're done, season both sides with salt and pepper. You could have made a marinade with the teriyaki sauce, but let's keep it simple this time. I know you like that more. After that, coat it with some potato starch. You don't have potato starch? Then you could also use cake flour. Don't worry about it. They both will give you a more crispy texture and help the chicken absorb more of our fantastic teriyaki sauce. And that will be absolutely amazing. Alright, our chicken is ready. Let's get cooking. Put some oil in a pan and place it over medium-low heat. Once it gets nice and hot, place your chicken skin side down, and then add the green onions. When the green onions are nice and charred, remove them from the pan and set them aside. And once you've got good color on one side, flip them over and gently cook the other side for another couple of minutes. Are you nervous about your chicken being undercooked? Don't worry about it. Just put a lid on. That's gonna help. When it's golden and crispy on both sides, change the heat to low heat and generously brush your teriyaki sauce all over the chicken. You could just add the sauce into the pan, but as you can see, it's gonna give you a more authentic vibe. And here's one more tip. When the fat from your chicken meets your teriyaki sauce, it's gonna be more flavorful. So don't forget to coat the outside with the sauce in the pan. Alright, our chicken is done. All you need to do is just slice it. How does it look? It looks so juicy and delicious, right? And it smells incredible, so I think Claire can't wait that long. She seems really hungry right now. So let's start plating. Put some cabbage on a plate and add some Kewpie mayo, tomatoes, and grilled green onions. If the cabbage and mayo is not enough for you, then drizzle some of that teriyaki sauce. Trust me, it will go so well with your cabbage. Lastly, place your chicken on the other side. How does it look? It looks fantastic, right? If you have this with a bowl of rice, you will feel on top of the world. Alright, let's call our taste tester.
Claire?
Ooh, teriyaki chicken? Honestly, I was not lucky enough to find the best teriyaki chicken place, or I have not tried enough. So hopefully this can be my new favorite. 치킨 위에 있는 이 소스가 봐. 윤기 나는 게 와, 장난 아니다. 알지? 나 닭껍질 별로 안 좋아하는 거. 근데 뭔가 맛있어 보이네? 한번 먹어봐야지. I can't wait to try. 와우. 장난 아니야. 이거 내가 알던 치킨 테리야키가 맞나 싶어. 대박, 진짜 맛있다. 일단 불맛이 엄청 강하게 나. 이게 약간 소스도 살짝 탄 것이 그게 뭔가 너무 맛있는 것 같아. 그리고 다시 말하지만 내가 원래 닭껍질을 별로 안 좋아하잖아. 그 씹었을 때 그 물컹물컹거리는 느낌이 너무 싫었단 말이야. 근데 이거는 약간 크리스피하면서도 동시에 쫀득쫀득거려. 괜찮은데? One more bite. 와우, 진짜 맛있네. 소스가 단맛이랑 짠맛이 진짜 밸런스가 기가 막혀. This time I wanna try the green onion because it looks amazing. I love it has a nice char on it. Ready? 말해 뭐해. 너무 맛있네. 진짜 이거 있으면 밥 한 공기 진짜 끄떡 없을 것 같아. More bites. 내가 맨날 어디 가서 치킨 데리야끼 별로 안 좋아한다고 말했잖아. 이제 그런 말 하면 안 되겠다. 맛있다.
You're not so sure you can use it all, so you need more recipes? For those of you, I brought this stir-fried udon noodles. For this, you will need onion, cabbage, carrot, udon noodles, green onion, and some grilled chicken teriyaki. Actually, this guy isn't really necessary, so you can use any protein you like, so don't worry about it. First, let's start with some onion. Depending on the size of your onion, slice a quarter or half an onion. If it's too thin, you're gonna lose all the texture because we're gonna stir-fry this. So let's chop it not too thick, not too thin. Next, I'm gonna use the cabbage that I used earlier. But if you have some leftover bok choy or napa cabbage, you can use them too. That's gonna be amazing. And then cut some carrots into bite-sized pieces. Lastly, chop some green onion into small pieces. As always, more green onion, more delicious, so please be super generous with this. Now, let's make the sauce. In a small bowl, put 2 tablespoons of teriyaki sauce, 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce, and mix it well. Actually, you can just go for teriyaki sauce. It's gonna be fantastic. But this little amount of oyster sauce will bring it to the next level. And then for the noodles, I've got these udon noodles, but you can also use any kind of noodles you like. So just use anything you have in your kitchen. Now put some oil in a pan and add in the green onions. Once they start to smell real nice, change the heat to high heat and add all the vegetables. If you want to make it a little spicy, you can add 2 or 3 dry chilies. That little bit of heat will give you that extra kick. Once the veggies are halfway cooked, add in the cooked noodles and the sauce we made. Now all you need to do is just stir fry it for about 2 minutes. Once that's done, transfer it to a serving plate. And on top of the noodles, place our teriyaki chicken, some Kewpie mayo, dried bonito flakes, and green onions. Alright, it's done. What? You wanna make it prettier? Then add a little bit of beni shoga, Japanese pickled ginger. Your family or friends will think they're sitting in a Japanese restaurant. Alright, let's see how it tastes.
Claire?
이건 또 뭐야? 가스오부시로 맛있는 걸 잘 숨겨놨구만. Let's dig in. 가스오부시에서 엄청난 풍미가 느껴진다. 우마미가 느껴지는구만. Oh yes. There's another piece of teriyaki chicken and the udon noodles. 와, 옆에서 보는데 육즙이 장난이 아니다. 치킨 테리야끼는 아까 먹어봤으니까 우동 먼저. Let me try the noodles first. 난 가스오부시를 좋아하니까 많이 묻혀서. Ready? 맛있다. 진짜 식당에 온 것 같아. 진짜 너무 잘 어울린다. 이 소스랑 우동면이랑 너무 잘 어울리는데? This time I wanna try with chicken. 우동이랑 치킨이랑. Ready? 와, 진짜 대박이네. 훨씬 맛있어지네 또. 치킨 너무 촉촉하고 너무 맛있다. 기껏 우동 해줬는데 또 치킨 얘기해서 미안한데 진짜 너무 맛있다. You guys really should try this. So good.
Are you looking for some perfect meal? Yes, we always are. But you don't want to spend lots of money for that, right? Then you came to the right place. After watching this video, all you need for the nice and delicious meal is only $3. Alright, are you guys ready? Let me save your money. Today we are making oyakodon, one of the most popular Japanese rice bowls. If I translate in English, oya means parent, ko means child, and don means rice bowl. So it literally means parent and child rice bowl. Yeah, I know some Japanese. Anyway, it may sound a little scary, but don't worry about it. It tastes really delicious, and that's what matters. For this, you will need chicken, green onion, egg, and a bowl of hot rice. Just by looking at it, you can tell it's gonna be so simple and easy. And more importantly, it's budget friendly. So there's no reason not to try this. First, let's prep the chicken. You could use any pot of chicken, but I do recommend this chicken thigh because it's more tender and flavorful. Plus, since this got a higher fat content in it, when you simmer it with the sauce, the fat will melt into the sauce and boost all the flavors in there. Here, some of you might wanna say, Aaron, why do you take the skin off? That's the best part of chicken. I knew you were gonna say that. I totally agree with you, and I love it too, but only when it's grilled or deep fried. So make sure to check if there's extra skin or fat you might want to remove. And if you're newlywed, listen. If your wife doesn't like chicken skin but you forgot to take it off, you might have to sleep on the couch tonight. But don't get me wrong, it's not my story. Once that's done, cut them into nice bite-sized pieces. If it's too thick, the sauce can go deep into the chicken. So if you slice it diagonally like this, it would help. This time, let's prep some vegetables. As always, chop some green onion into small pieces. Originally, instead of green onion, we're supposed to use Japanese parsley, which is called mitsuba. But no way, I'm gonna stick to my love, green onion. Nah, actually, I couldn't get it. Sorry about that. But if you can get one, please use that. That will be more authentic. But I know you're just gonna use our love green onion. Next, slice an onion. If it's too thin, it will go all mushy. So cut it about a 1/4 inch thick. That will be perfect. And then let's make some dashi broth. Now some of you might be thinking, what? We even make dashi broth for less than a $3 meal? Good catch. If I were your professor, you got an A. Generally, to make dashi broth, we need this kind of dried kelp and bonito flakes. Now you may think it doesn't need many ingredients, but they're way out of our budget and it takes a long time to cook. So to make it simple, we're gonna use this secret weapon, hondashi. Yes, it's like magic powder. Trust me, this bad boy will take you to the Japanese restaurant. Now in a small container, add 1 cup of water, half a teaspoon of hondashi, and mix it. That's it. Couldn't be any easier, right? What? You're not so sure you can get this hondashi? Then bring your chicken bouillon powder and use it. Still gonna be good. Keep adding 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, 3 tablespoons of mirin, half a tablespoon of sugar, and give it a good mix until the sugar is completely dissolved. Alright, our sauce for oyakodon is done. Now in a separate container, crack 2 eggs for 1 serving and just lightly beat the eggs. Here, you don't have to mix it too hard. Just give it a few stirs like you're too lazy. That's it. Then you will get the beautiful gradation of white and yellow. Next, get yourself a small frying pan that is similar size of your serving bowl. That way, you can make it more beautiful like a restaurant version. For information, in Japan, they even have a specialized frying pan only for oyakodon. But don't go like, Aaron, I don't have a small pan. Should I go out and get one for this? Don't worry about it. Just make 2 servings at a time with any kind of pan you have and scoop it over. No problem at all. Alright, let's pour half of the sauce and bring it to a boil. Once it starts to bubble, reduce the heat to medium-low and add half of the chicken and half of the onions. And once it's back up to a boil, cover the lid and let it simmer for 2 minutes. Take the lid off and flip the chicken so that they can absorb more of the sauce. Now put the lid back on and let that cook for another 4 to 5 minutes. Once the chicken is cooked through, let's pour the eggs and slowly cook it over low heat. When the eggs start to set, shake it off a little bit so that the eggs don't stick on the bottom. And using some chopsticks or spatula, give it a few stirs like this. But don't go crazy like you do scrambled eggs. If you do, you will get an ugly, messy one at the end. So please be gentle. If you don't take my advice, your wife or husband may feel suspicious of your oyakodon. I said it, so if that happens, I'm not responsible. Once the eggs have reached your desired doneness, turn the heat off and finish it off with a generous amount of green onions. Last but not least, pour it over the rice. That's it. The next step is completely optional, but if you want some extra creaminess, then put the extra egg yolk on top of the rice. But if you don't trust how fresh it is, then forget about it. Still gonna be good. Alright, it's done. Let's go to our taste tester.
Claire, 자기가 그 돈부리 만들 때마다 나는 특유의 향이 있는데 그게 지금 집안 가득 찼어. 너무 좋다. Makes me so hungry. 맛있겠다. I love runny egg yolk. Let's mix it. 내가 알기론 이건 비빔밥처럼 막 섞으면 안 되는 걸로 알고 있어. 소스가 밥에 막 스며들어 있다. I've got a little bit of everything. Onion, green onion, chicken, egg, and rice. Let's try. 소스 딱이다. 짜지 않고 너무 맛있고 단순한 간장의 향이 아니라 거기에 약간의 그 갓소부시의 향도 샥 느껴지는 게 되게 감칠맛이 풍부해. 그리고 계란도 딱 내가 좋아하는 정도로 러니한 게 유지되어 있어. 부드럽고 크리미하고 맛있네. 내가 보통 닭가슴살을 더 좋아하는 건 누구든지 다 알잖아. 근데 여기에 닭다리살이 되게 잘 어울리긴 하다. 먹는 순간 건조함이 하나 없이 그냥 정말 촉촉해, 속안이. 왜 이 닭다리살을 썼는지 알 것 같아. 되게 부들부들 야들야들 막 그런 느낌이야. And here's a pro tip. If you add this kind of Japanese 7-spice powder, it's gonna be more pretty and delicious. Let's try it. Tok tok. Here's 7-spice powder. Cheers. 달라. 뭔가 일본에 온 느낌이야. 뭔가 엄청나게 맵거나 자극적인 건 아닌데 그 미묘한 향이 좋네. It boosts all the flavors in there. But if you don't have it, just don't worry about it. This is totally optional. 맛있다. 위에다 톡톡 하니까도 먹어줘야지. Is it too bad? It's gonna be fine. Ready? 맛있다. 맛있다. 이거 가방에다 넣어가지고 다녀야겠어. 뭐 먹을 때마다 뿌려서 먹을 수 있게. I love it.
Let me guess, you're craving some nice and crispy fried chicken, so you spent 30 minutes driving and got some takeout. But when you got home and opened the box, there was cold and soggy fried chicken, unlike your expectation. But what if I say you can make the ultimate crispy fried chicken at home within 20 minutes? What do you say? Today we're making chicken katsu, Japanese style crispy fried chicken. Yes, that's right, it's basically the same as tonkatsu that you might have had at Japanese restaurants. But with chicken, it'll be like 10 times easier than the pork version. So if you're a beginner cook, now it's time to give it a shot. You will need chicken, egg, flour, breadcrumbs, and cabbage. For information, I'm gonna use this cabbage for the side dish. So if you're not a big fan of cabbage, you can use other vegetables, no problem at all. First, let's prep the chicken. Today, I'm using chicken breast, but if you prefer chicken thighs, go ahead and use it. As you guys already know, Claire loves chicken breast, that's why I'm using this. That's right, this is how I survive. If you're married or going to get married soon, remember, this is reality. Now, if you look at your chicken breast, you will find it's not even in thickness, which means when it's deep fried, some parts might be overcooked, but others might be undercooked. So let's make it even. How? Just put it in a plastic bag and pound it up with a meat mallet, saucepan, or wine bottle. It's been a tough week? Then even your fist will do the job. So don't worry about it. But don't make this poor little chicken into mushy. It's not your boss. Once it gets nice and flat, season both sides with salt and pepper, but not too much, because we're gonna make a dipping sauce anyhow. Now for the breading station, take out some trays and fill them with flour, eggs, and some panko breadcrumbs. What? No panko? Don't worry about about it. Just use leftover bread and put them in a food processor. You wanna know one secret? They'll be more delicious. Now let's grab a piece of chicken and toss it in the flour. Make sure it gets all around and shake off the excess. And then move on to the egg and breadcrumbs. Here, you need to cover with a good amount of breadcrumbs and gently press it down so that it can't stick to the surface. Otherwise, you might end up with some naked cutlets that nobody wants. Alright, the chicken is ready. Let's get cooking. The best temperature for this guy is 160 to 170 degrees Celsius or 320 to 340 degrees Fahrenheit. Once you reach the temperature, add in the chicken. Depending on the size of your chicken, fry for about 6 to 8 minutes. Here, do not overcrowd the pan and do this in batches, like 1 or 2 at a time would be perfect. Otherwise, you will lower the oil temperature too quickly. That means you can't get this kind of perfectly cooked chicken katsu. Once your chicken is done, take it out and let it rest on a cooling rack. This way, the excess oil will drain off and give you that light and crispy texture. You don't have a cooling rack? Then just put your chopsticks on a plate and place your fried chicken on top of them. That will totally work. Meanwhile, let's prep the cabbage. When you go to a Japanese restaurant, you always get some shredded cabbage as a side dish, right? That's what we're gonna do. So you need to slice it as thinly as possible. You're not confident with the knife skills? Then just grab a vegetable peeler. It's gonna be way easier. Once you're done, soak them in cold water and set it aside. Now for the dressing, you can actually use your personal favorite because making your own dressing is quite inefficient. What? You wanna see my version? Alright, let me show you an amazing sesame dressing. First, with a mortar and pestle, grind 3 tablespoons of toasted sesame seeds. And then add 1 tablespoon of sugar, 5 tablespoons of Kewpie mayo, 1 tablespoon of vinegar, 1 teaspoon of soy sauce, a half tablespoon of toasted sesame oil, a pinch of salt, and give it a good mix. What? You're on a diet? So no mayonnaise? Then you can replace it with some yogurt. Still gonna be good. Next, let's make a dipping sauce. Put 6 tablespoons of ketchup, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, a half tablespoon of oyster sauce, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and give that a good mix. That's it. Alright, everything is ready. Let's start plating. Put some cabbage on a plate and add some rice. For a little bit more color, I'm gonna add some tomato and black sesame seeds. It looks way better, right? And then slice up our chicken and place it on the other side. That's it. It's absolutely easy, right? But the taste is not gonna be simple. Alright, let's go to our taste tester.
Claire.
Wow! Ooh. Looks like it just came out of a Japanese restaurant. 대박! 오, 냄새도 기가 막힌다. 완전 맛있겠는데? I'm super excited. Let me try. 요거 먹어봐야겠다. 통통하니 엄청 맛있어 보인다. 우후. Dip it in the sauce. Ooh. It's super thick. Ready? 와, 잘 튀겼네. 대박. 와, 이거 진짜 닭가슴살로 한 거 맞아? 속이 엄청 촉촉해. 장난 아니야. 진짜 그냥 말하는 게 아니야. 엄청 촉촉하고 겉에는 그 빵가루 때문에 하나하나리 막 이렇게 입에서 톡톡톡 터지면서 엄청 바삭거려. 대박. 진짜 맛있다. 괜찮다. 오 마이 갓. 이거 자기 거. 소스가 되게 새콤하니 되게 맛있네. 이 기름진 음식에 요 새콤한 소스가 들어가니까 전혀 기름지지 않고 그 입맛을 확 끌어주는 매력이 있는 것 같아. 너무 맛있는데? yes. 너무 맛있다. Again, more bites. 진짜 거짓말하는 거 아니고 여태까지 먹어봤던 닭가슴살 중에서 제일 촉촉한 것 같아. 거의 무슨 수비드를 한 것 같아. 완전 괜찮네. And I need to try some salad because I know Aaron made the dressing. 오, 위에 뭔가 깨가 막 엄청 많이 있는 게 느껴진다. 단순한 소스가 아니구만. Ready? 사 먹는 거랑은 확실히 다르네. 엄청 꽃이다. It's so fragrant. Aaron always says chicken thighs are more flavorful, but I don't know. I just love the white chicken breast better. Especially when it's deep fried like this. It is so moist and tender on the inside. So if you're not a big fan of chicken breast, why don't you try this out? It's not gonna be boring anymore. By the way, where's the miso soup? I need some miso soup.
What if I say you can make another Japanese dish with this cutlet? For those of you, I brought this chicken katsu. For this, you will need egg, onion, green onion, a bowl of rice, and chicken cutlet. Everything you need is pretty much like in your pantry, right? So once you've made this chicken katsu, I really want you to give it a try. You will see yourself writing a comment like thank you. You're always welcome. First, slice a quarter of an onion. It doesn't have to be too thin, so you can go however thick you want. Next, chop some green onion for garnish. Once you're done, crack 2 eggs and mix this up. We still want some separation between the whites and the yolks because this will make your dish more beautiful. So please do not overstir this. Now for the sauce, we need dashi, Japanese soup stock. But to make dashi, you need this kind of bonito flakes and some dried kelp, which are a little tricky to work with. So today, I'm gonna use this hondashi. With this bad boy, you may think you should open a Japanese restaurant or something because this makes everything easy and delicious. Put a quarter teaspoon of hondashi into 100 milliliters of water. Keep adding 1.5 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1.5 tablespoons of mirin, a half tablespoon of sugar, and mix it all together. That's it. Couldn't be any easier, right? Alright, let's get cooking. Add the sauce and the onions into a pan and place it over medium heat. Once the onions get softened, place your chicken cutlet into the sauce and then pour the eggs all around the chicken. Lastly, sprinkle some green onions, cover with the lid, and let them steam for about 1 minute. When the eggs are slightly set, slide everything over the rice. How does it look? It looks exactly the same as the one in Japanese restaurants, right? What? Even better? Thank you. Alright, let's see how it tastes.
Claire?
오 대박. 위에 치킨 카츠 너무 귀여운 거 아니야? 도레미파솔라시도. Let me try. 이것도 치킨 카츠부터 먹어보겠다. 가운데 있는 이 녀석. 우후. 대박. Ready? 맛있네, 엄청. 오. 아까에 비하면 바삭한 맛은 확실히 떨어질 수밖에 없는데 얘네들이 소스를 짠뜩 흡수해가지고 너무 맛있는 맛이 확 입에서 퍼져. 너무 맛있다. 너무 촉촉하니 너무 맛있는데? 이번엔 밥이랑 먹어봐야겠어. Let me try with rice. I want to make it pretty. Lots of onions and egg. See? It looks super moist. Ready? 계란이 진짜 풍신풍신하니 너무 맛있어. 보기에는 계란이 다 익어 보이는데 중간중간 그 치킨 카츠 사이사이에 계란이 반숙처럼 다 있어가지고 너무 부드럽고 맛있어. 닭가슴살은 원래 다이어트 할 때 먹는 건데 이런 식으로 맨날 먹었다간 큰일 나겠다.